almost gave in, almost disappeared, nearly left a wound that none of us could heal. I count my stars, it's a miracle you're here. And in spite of it all, you're not afraid to feel. These are the stories I will tell my children. All of the sacrifice and service to them. Nothing comes easy in securing a victory, but it's worth it. These are the stories I will tell my children. Here's to the heroes. May we lift them up and carry our heads high. May we act as a beacon, offer protection, bringing ugly truths to light. May we be better, may we be worthy of our blood and choose fight. These are the stories I will tell my children. Do you remember the day you promised you would do all you can? Facing an evil you might not live to see its end. Feeling no
Hello and welcome everyone to my second Ask Me Anything. I know it's been a couple of years, and I will be turning on the cam here shortly. I would like to see you face to face. But first, what we're going to do is we are going to thank these lovely people that make this possible. Iron Roots, Landman, the Alabastard, Simon JJ, many others financially support me every month, and it is deeply appreciated. This small amount of money helps me know that I can spend a couple of days a week dedicated to networking, making content, all the things that let the streams and the activism and the things that I do online happen. If you would like to support, please do so on Subscribestar. Even if it's only $1 a month, I would deeply appreciate it. You can also support over on Entropy monthly, and we're going to go ahead and pull up the ways you can support here. Cash App, PayPal, these are great ways for you to leave little messages to me. It costs almost $0 for you to pay me via PayPal and Cash App. It's just a couple of percent, and I will read out whatever little messages that you leave if you want to make one-time donations to me that way. Entropy, of course, is the way that I get super chats because I refuse to be monetized on YouTube. Excuse me. And today, however, of course, I'll prioritize paid chat. But today is an Ask Me Anything. So today, you don't have to use your money to ask me questions. We're going to have a long conversation, at least an hour or so. And I'm going to do my best to answer the questions that you guys have to the best of my ability. I have a sidekick here to keep things from getting too stale. You all know 3 of 12. He's been around for a long time. Probably my most reliable co-host I've ever had. Always glad to have him here as well. And one last thing I'd like to say before we move away from the shilling here is Entropy is the best place for you to put questions, comments, and links. Over on Entropy, you don't have to spend the money if you want to leave a comment, question, or link in the question widget. It is by far the best way to communicate with me, my guests, and on Mondays when I do Discordant Dragons, the best way to post questions to the dragons as well. Excuse me. And just to remind you guys, I am coming off being a little sick. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and kill OBS here. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on my proper camera. And we're going to bid everyone a howdy and hopefully decent definition. So, hello, everybody. I'm not dead. I actually survived. As you can probably tell, I'm still a bit congested. I don't know if I had bronchitis or strep throat, but it was definitely one of the two based upon the symptoms that I know of those diseases. I had a couple of old bottles of antibiotics. I took them for 7 days, or one of them for 7 days, and it seems to have knocked it. And I felt like crap for about 3 days. Then I felt fine. Then I went back and forth for a few days. That's when I started the antibiotics because I was like, this is not going away on its own. And that ended, today's Monday, so last Friday is when that ended. And I felt better and better all weekend, up to the point to where I felt confident doing the stream tonight. But since I didn't have anyone lined up for Discordant Dragons, and I couldn't really get anyone except 3 of 12 on short notice for tonight, I decided just to do an Ask Me Anything. So I hope that you have some good questions for me. If there's any particular articles that we can cover quickly and swiftly, if you want me to just give my opinion on it or to answer a question, you can put that over in the Entropy question widget, and we might even take a look at them on screen together. So I am going to be muting myself from time to time to clear my throat, like right now. There we go. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring on 3 of 12 here. 3, can you hear me okay?
I'll be
I think he said
in a minute.
Okay, no problem. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to have 3 on here, and he's going to be taking it easy. He's going to be someone that I talk to, maybe ask opinions of as we go. What we have is we're going to start over on the question widget on Entropy because that is my preferred method of communication. Those of you over here on YouTube, I will be getting to your questions as long as you highlight my name. Type out Yizz space the space Eunuch, or use the @ sign and just tab complete my name. And I will be answering those quandaries and things in the YouTube chat. But we're going to start off with entropy here. Popcorn Power. Hello, friend. I see you most often in my Odyssey chat. Popcorn Power says, what is the appropriate consistency of grout prior to the application of bathroom tile? Well, you've come to the right place, of course, because I clearly am a master artisan or tile layer or whatever the fuck. So I would say that the optimal consistency of grout is 3-day aged gruel from the early 1800s. Silly answer for a question that I obviously don't know the appropriate answer to give. So that was the first one over on entropy. We're going to check DLive and Odyssey, and okay, those are clear. And we're going to move on over to YouTube now. I see some people have highlighted my name already. First off, Prometheum Promulgation. Nice to see you here, brother. Prometheum Promulgation is the one that came to my picnic earlier this year. Excellent to meet him in person. He says, how do I manage to be so based? I know that might just be a compliment, but I'm going to humor it like it's a real question. In my opinion, the way to be based is to be grounded in truth, family, and tradition. Now, even if you want to be a forward-thinking, dare I say, progressive person that wants to use modern technology or implement new ways of thinking, trade, commerce, etc., to try to improve upon the things that are important to you or the things that are based, like, living in a techno-Amish enclave or whatever. One of the things that I think makes a person based, and one of the ways that I stay based, is I go through my life being a student instead of thinking I'm a master. I always want to learn what I don't know before. And I always want to learn from the best that came before me, whether it's 1,000 years before or 5 days before. I think that one of the ways to stay based is to learn about philosophy and religion and history and tradition and carry that with you every day. My family's Christian. Everybody in my area here is Christian. So I will speak to you in Christian terminology. One of the reasons we say walk with Jesus or what would Jesus do or walk with Christ every day is when you carry with you a conscious, active thought of what would the people that I respect most in life and in mythology, or even in my own family's history, what would they want me to do in this situation? And you think of that and you carry it in your mind every minute of every day. That helps you be based. Me personally, I think of a nebulous, vague room of founding fathers, wise men from all throughout Western civilization's history, and I think of them judging my actions, judging my words, judging what I choose to look at in my spare time, judging me for what entertainment I choose to use, whether it be a video game, whether it be video games, movies, etc. I think of those people, the nebulous hundreds or thousands of people that I could probably sit down and name if I took the time. I think of the spirits of those people. I think of the Jesus of Nazareth character from the Bible. I think of the nebulous God figure, the top of the pyramid in the divine or the natural order. I think of all those creatures, all those minds, all those great men, them judging every action I take, them judging the company I keep, judging the books I read. And I think that's what helps me stay based. And there's a lot of modern writers, including Jason Kuna, that use this concept in the books that they make for us, like the Go Free book or everything from that to Jordan Peterson's books and that kind of stuff, that teach you mindfulness to go through your life and your days, being mindful of the things that you do, what you choose, what you say, that kind of shit. So hopefully that's a decent answer. And we're going to move on to another question now. Okay. Oh, I see we have a lot of people in chat. We have Scrubs here. We have Lady of Shalott. We have Ragnar. Excellent to see everyone here. Hello, It's a Duck and Pale and all kinds of people have showed up today. And I see we have Holly Midwife with us today as well. Excellent. We have a lot of good people here today. Speaking of good people, how are you doing, 3 of 12? You doing okay today?
I'm doing okay.
I appreciate you being here in the co-host position for my Ask Me Anything. I'm going to rest my voice for a moment and let you talk. Do you want to help me answer that question? Any recommendations for how to stay based?
Yeah, you have to train your mind. You have to be. You have to put yourself in the mindset of the Chad constantly. Think about what he would do. What would Chad do? I've always liked that because I can't. Well, let's see. I have a mental age of 7, so I constantly run the meme through my head. And if it's something that would trigger the meme, then it makes me very happy. Not the
Okay,
most intellectual answer, but
that's okay. That's okay. Not everything has to be steeped steeped in philosophy or intellectualism.
yeah.
Popcorn Power over on Odyssey responds to that
Oh, I
question
want
and says,
popcorn.
in terms of being based, I believe it boils down to consistency internally and externally.
Ooh,
Do
that's
you
good.
act and say what you believe? And then
Yes.
he goes on to extrapolate there. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. A big part of being based is just not being a fucking hypocrite,
Yeah.
because we see the people who aren't based, they're all hypocrites.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much
And
it.
and the best way to not be a hypocrite is like what Jordan Peterson constantly says. It's more important, more than anything, to train your mind so that you're resilient, consistent, calm, and always thinking about what you should be doing next. Um, it just be the father figure that you would want your yourself to be in a relationship and would want to see in
Uh-huh.
other people.
Um, we're going to move now to over to entropy, and we have Cinder Mountain Villager. Hello, Cinder. Good to see you here today, my friend. Thank you for being here. For $10 US, thank you so much, my friend. He says, "How serious do you see the supply chain crisis becoming?" I think it's very serious. I think the economical impact of the purposeful destruction of our way of life, our economy, our people, our civilization, I think that it is coming to a head. I think it's going to get much, much worse before it ever gets better, if it does. I think that now more than ever, we're going to have millions of people across America, this once great country, realizing there, maybe not there is, but that there should be alternatives to global trade and international supply chains. And I think that very, very soon, people are going to start feeling the bite of not having the luxury that we've been accustomed to for generations. And it's going to make a lot of people think, hey, why is everything that I buy and everything that I want to be comfortable and happy made on the other side of the fucking planet? And why are all of the industry infrastructures of not just logistics but manufacturing, how come those things that make all the medicines and the toys and the gizmos and the gadgets that I love, how come none of those are made in America? How come none of those are made in my state? How come none of those are made where I live? Maybe I should do something about that. And I do think it's going to get worse before it gets better, but that's just, I think that's what has to happen. And I do think that this supply chain crisis is going to be pretty bad. And I think it's going to, I hope that it's going to make a lot of people take action and be proactive where they live and want to build the beginnings of the infrastructure that we're going to need to have proper parallel existence. So that's my answer to that, Cinder. Hopefully it was okay.
It's
Excuse
certainly
me.
something
Anything you want to say to that, Three?
Oh, definitely. That's certainly a thought that comes across my head very often because I I'm very concerned with throwaway culture and upcycling and uh, conservationism. As I believe those are all conservative ideas. The idea that we shouldn't just throw things away; we should be using them in our entire lives if they're resilient enough. There was a time not too long ago when you got your first razor and it lasted your entire life. Your shoes were built to last for decades. If you needed
And
them
that's just
redone,
2 generations ago. That's
right,
a living memory. Yeah.
and you had specialists that would repair shoes, would repair equipment, that would restore your. I mean, tools used to be built out of cast iron, and they were designed to last forever, and at least until you were dead, anyway. Um, Now everything's made out of plastic, and everything's made. And although there's nice things you can buy, and they're reasonably priced. The problem is there's too many pieces of junk out there that basically have no way to be upcycled into something new unless you take them apart and use them as parts. But in particular, I've had a rude awakening in the last 2 weeks because I've had 2 cars in and out of the shop, and anyone who's ever had that problem knows
Two?
how 2 cars. Yes, 2 cars. I have a sedan, 2001 Toyota Camry, and it's got like 160,000 miles on it. And then I have a 2003 Honda Odyssey van that has 230,000 miles on it. And it's just been problem after problem after problem. It's like the thing has fallen apart entirely all at once. And it might just be that it was just the battery cable was bad. But as far as the Toyota Camry is concerned, somehow a nut has found its way into cylinder 5. And that means either they're gonna have to take the engine completely apart, score all the cylinder holes, replace the piston
That
heads.
sounds nuts. I don't know
Yeah.
much about cars, but I don't know how that even happens. Aren't those things sealed? Like,
They're saying that it's most likely it came in through the air intake, and it might have flown right through the air filter because it's made out of cardboard, and then got lodged. It says it's lodged so good in cylinder 5, near the valve, that that they can't remove it. It's just jammed in there. So they're saying it might be cheaper just to get a new engine.
all right. Well, let's move on to other questions now.
Right.
My voice is doing okay. Let's scroll up
Okay.
and we're going to start going from the top of the YouTube chat here. All righty. Let's see what we've got. We did Promethean promulgation already, the based question. That's pretty good. I appreciate everybody saying that they're glad I feel better, that they prayed for me, etc. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right.
I'm glad you're doing better,
Lady
too.
of Shalott, yes. AA's Ask Me Anything did inspire me to do this tonight. It was a very fun, deepest lore. I'm looking forward to AA's Ask Me Anything about politics tomorrow. That should also be fun. Okay, let's see what we have. Let me check entropy. Okay, nothing on the question widget. All right, I'm going to scroll back down through YouTube chat again. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we have Ardent Party shilling himself as usual. Hello, friend. How you doing, George? Okay. I have a question for you, George. You're here all the time. How do you pronounce Newfoundland? Is it Newfoundland? Is it Newfoundland? Is it Newfoundland? Newfoundland, perhaps. I've been told that I have not said it correctly in the past, and I would appreciate you telling me how to say it properly. Okay. Let me see what we have here. Yeah, I know it's an hour to midnight, Simon. I know that, but I live in America. East Coast time in the evening is the best I can do most days. So I used to stream during the day, but I had even worse views than I do streaming in the evening in America. So I do my best to do at least late afternoon to mid evening U.S. time, just for optimal views here. And also streaming during the day, I step on the toes, or I should say, live in the shadow of larger creators that are in Europe or UK. Excuse me. All right, Ardent Party. Here's something that actually is a question for me. It says, what do you think of Super Vicious Hamster Debacle? Now, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to click on it and open it. Okay, let's. Okay, this seems pretty safe to have on screen. We'll have a look at this. Now, this might just be a joke. I don't know. But let's go ahead and embiggen this and see what happens here. Okay, it says scientists accidentally create super vicious hamsters in a lab after gene editing experiment goes wrong and makes aggressive rodents chase, bite, and pin each other. Okay, well, obviously, let's see what is the meme. Let's the
This is some
the Peter Green. Oh, good, man-made horrors beyond my comprehension.
freaking sweet.
All right. Let's see here. Gene editing. Okay, inadvertently made them wild, chasing and biting. We thought it would reduce aggression, but the opposite happened. Okay, I don't want to read any more of this. It reminds me of course, you might have guessed, the Firefly movie with what the Alliance did to create the Reavers. They tried to create this magic wonderkin drug, like from, I think, Brave New World, that made people peaceful and productive. And what it did was it made most people just a lethargic lump, and it made like 1/3% of them just psycho, murderous, rapist, crazy people. So
Yeah, it reminds me of the
reminds me
Augments.
of that. I'm sorry, what 3?
It reminds me of the augments from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Khan and his people.
Well, Ardent Party, that's all the answer you're going to get from that one. I'm going to put, just a second. I need to cough. Okay, much better. We're going to put a pin in YouTube chat right now, and we're going to move over to Entropy again because Cinder Mountain Villager has graced us with another $10 US. Thank you so much, my friend. He says, I have noticed a plethora of unemployed, directionless, out of shape, internet-focused men in our spheres. What advice would you give these rough gems as they begin their journey towards viable personhood and manhood? That is an excellent question. I actually have a lot to say about this, as I am a person who has suffered from internet dwelling a large portion of my life and being connected to people that encourage me to do negative, destructive things or just passive things that are of no use. My advice to you, in answer to Cinder's question about if you're a person who doesn't really do in-person or real life stuff, my advice to you is simple. You have to get active with people that you can see, smell, and touch. You have to. You have to do that, or everything that you build is facile and can be taken away easily. And worse than any of that, it disempowers you. You, internet dweller, you person who only exists in chat rooms and telegrams and all this other stuff. I'm sorry. I know that you do good work. I know that you might be noble. I know that you might spend 50 hours a week networking with like-minded people, but unless you start building things, trade, gardens, exchanges, a family, helping contribute your knowledge to local homeschooling or community schooling, or offer your services to some based local organization, I'm sorry, but you're not really doing much of value. Now, I know that what we do online is very important, but it's minuscule in value to actually building real connections and sharing real experiences with others. That's why I invite people here all the time. That's why I have people come and visit me. And I'm talking to 3 different people right now about moving to this area where I live and helping me build community, helping me build all kinds of things. I would love to one day have a thriving community of dozens, if not hundreds, of like-minded people right here where I live. And no amount of just talking about it on internet makes that happen. I have to start putting rubber on the road, so to speak. So the people that come visit me, I show them my land. I tell them what I want to build. I entice them to come here and do the same with me or build likewise in their area. And in doing so, I meet people who actually want to get out and build and do things. And we might have 1,000 internet warriors, but I would trade all of them for 2 people that will build with me in person. And so I'm not saying that you can only be one or the other. I'm just saying you have to actually build with people and network and meet space, because internet space, while powerful and useful, that's not real enough to have the things that we need to go forward. So that is my answer to that, Cinder. I hope that it suffices, and I hope that I inspire anyone listening that mostly just exists online to start doing stuff in person and trying to network and build with people in person. That's what I have to say. I'm going to rest my voice and let 3 of 12 respond. Go ahead, take it, 3.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have some ideas on this as well. I mean, I think Mac was saying just earlier today that you shouldn't be taking the best, if you're going to look for advice on how to be a good man, first of all, you shouldn't take the advice from some 40-year-old divorced woman. Instead, it should be a man who's also successful. You should get advice from him. He'll know what to do. And frankly, my answer isn't too different. You got to start building things. And it doesn't matter how small you start. But, a good start might be just going outside and doing some yard work. Get yourself some vitamin D. Build up the motivation to do more. And then find people who will work with you at IRL. I mean, the best thing that for most people is to find some sort of IRL club that they can go to where people work on stuff together. Like some kind of, and that's something I've realized that I've never seen in my area. Some sort of community club where people do stuff together. Never seen that before.
I would love to start that. I'm trying to network and get that going, but man, people here where I live, they're very private.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is an American thing.
Unless it's like, you're just out shooting guns on your farmland and people come by to shoot with you, or you go to church. There's not a lot of like community clubs around here. I'd like to start one, but I don't know. We'll see.
Like,
I'd love to start a Go Free club. I just need people around here to do it with.
we used to have a
We're going to go ahead
YMCA.
and move on to something in YouTube chat here from Holly Midlife. Holly, I hope you're still with us. This is pretty early in the chat now, probably about 10, 15 minutes ago. Holly says, Yizz, I am an emotionally driven woman, but I am logical enough to determine that I live as such. How do I keep that in balance, especially in light of what my country is going through right now?
You find a man.
What?
You find a man.
Well, let me get to that. Holly. Holly is a mother. She's a mature woman. She might even be a little older than I am. So she's not a spring chicken. So just going and getting the man is not exactly the right answer. But she says, I am an emotional driven woman, but logical enough to determine that I live as such. I think I understand what you're saying, Holly. Her question is, how do I keep that in balance, especially in light of what my country is going through? How do you keep that in balance? My answer is not going to be female specific. My answer is going to be wisdom and life choice specific. When you want to live a balanced life, meaning you don't want to be an extremist, you don't want to throw yourself all or nothing into one cause or to one goal, I think that the goal is finding some type of homeostasis with things that not only you derive personal ethos and fulfillment from, but that you also know are doing some good to the things larger than you, larger than yourself and your family. Like I just talked about earlier in my response to Cinder, if you are a wise enough, mature woman who sees the evils and the poisons of today, you started a channel. That's good. You should take that personal. You should take that to meat space, as I say. You should organize with mothers or maybe fathers too in your area and create some kind of club, network, book club, maybe a place where people can bring their little kids to play together or network their, tween to teenage kids together to do based events or based things with based parents and put into effect things in your life that you control to not only give you pathos to know to be fulfilled and know that you're doing good, but to spread the wisdom and the knowledge and the whatever enlightenment or positivity that you've cultivated, share that with others, or at least start them on the path that you took. There's going to be millions of women that are going to be realizing all of the anti-white lies of feminism and progressivism and all these other isms. All these lies are bad for them. And they're going to realize it. It's going to bite some of them harder than it bites others, but they're going to need women like you to tell them how to move away from that and how to have a healthy life after having a decade or two of anti-whiteism wreck their lives. And that's what I try to do with former homosexuals or former degenerates that realize, oh, whoa, I became involved in all this degenerate crap and all this trans stuff or drugs or pornography or whatever. And this is all terrible. I need to move away from this. But how? What do I do? This is all I know. Like, that's what I spent years counseling people on, how to move away from all of that, how to not make those bad decisions. Maybe you can apply that to young girls, maybe in middle school and high school. Maybe you have daughters that you could get busy with them in the PTA or whatever student groups or whatever they're a part of, or maybe you homeschool or you're part of a community school. Invest yourself into that kind of thing and share the wisdom and share the knowledge that you have while also making friends along the way. You can derive pathos just from having good, like-minded friends. And so maybe that's, I don't know if that's a great answer or not, Holly, but that's the best one I got. Excuse me. 3, I'm going to rest my voice and check chat while you maybe say some things to Holly here.
Sure. I mean, I can definitely say that there's lots of women who have this problem. And I'm not saying this like I'm not going to play the Red Hawk game and say it's like a I think you know where I'm going with that. I'm not going to say run to a man and expect him to fix it all for you. I am saying that, yeah, there definitely is an issue with people being reliant on their emotions. It seems to be something that the neoliberal like elites pushed on us. The idea that that the only thing that matters is whatever sort of emotional impact that something creates on us, and we've been far too reliant on that far too long. It's time to, whenever you get that feeling, it means it's time to sit down and do some research, answer any questions that you have by doing some research, and then make an informed decision based on that. I mean, like I said, ties right back into the car thing. I've had a lot of that recently, where I've had to negotiate with my mother, and she's approximately the same sort of age that Holly is, and has had that same sort of problem, and she's been trying to tackle that recently too, because she realized more and more so she's going to have to start making more decisions on her own, because she has three children that are growing out of the nest, and they aren't going to be able to help her as often with stuff, particularly the IT stuff, the car stuff, the big decisions like that. And she's learning that she's going to have to humble herself. She doesn't know everything. There's a lot of stuff she doesn't know, despite being 60 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has to do
Excuse me.
research.
I see we have No White Guilt in the chat. Good to see you, Jason. Nice to have you here, my friend. Let's see what else we have next. We have Ardent Party and Simon and Lady of Shalott chatting and saying fun things together. Simon highlighted my name and said, "I'm looking fit and fresh as a daisy." Well, I certainly feel neither, but you are a gentleman for saying so. Excuse me. All right. Okay, we have more talk from Lady of Shalott and others. Bass guitarist says he's going to start building custom guitars. Does that count? Yes, of course.
Yes.
Anything that a Westman, that one of our tribe does with passion and love to build anything for his fellow man, that's great. I don't care if you're building collectible thimbles for grandmas to put on their collectible shelf, or if you're building car parts. If you build, network, and contribute to actually giving us a civilization that we make for us, then that's great, bass guitarist. That's wonderful. Keep doing that. And that goes for all of you out there that want to build or do anything for our people. Do it.
Yeah,
right.
Congratulations. You're a craftsman.
Yeah. All right, let's move down. Oh, Holly Midlife, thanks me. She is here with us. Great. I'm glad you're still here. She says she has a man that she loves very much. Just to answer that question. Okay. All right. Let's see here. I hear that, Promethean Promulgation. Thank you for responding. Okay. Cinder has a funny question in YouTube chat. He says, "How many bags of Skittles can I eat in a day and still be a man?"
Their biscuit is immoral.
Funny. That's pretty funny. That's pretty fun. That's almost a third biscuit question there.
Yeah.
Cinder, that's pretty good. All right, let's see. I'm almost to the bottom of chat now. Okay, let's see if there's any good questions lingering in here for me. Shelly. Hello, Shelly. Good to see you here. I don't know what this is in reference to, Shelly. You didn't link me, but I am going to respond to it because it hits close to home for me. Shelly says, for some, it's the self-realization that you are a Cancer and you're better off staying away and praying for the rest. Shelly, speaking sincerely here for a minute, I thought that way about myself for a lot of years. I am a product of degeneracy, anti-whiteism, bio-Leninism. I did things I'm not proud of. I did a lot of degenerate things, drugs and sex and prostitution and pornography, a bunch of bad stuff when I was young. And I shouldn't have done those things. But I was so hollowed out from the lies of the anti-white narrative that I thought nothing mattered. I hated what I came from for a few years. I was confused when I left my little area and went to cities and colleges and things. I was bombarded with the power and the weight of what felt like the entire world that was bigger and smarter than me and my little family I came from. And they mind fucked me. And it was a very unpleasant few years. And for years after that, even though I got better, so to speak, I felt like I was a Cancer. I was a pox to my people. But that's what the anti-whites want you to think. They want you to feel that way. I don't care if you used to be a stripper on a pole. I don't care if you used to sell drugs in Las Vegas. I don't care if you were a prostitute or you did pornography. Everyone can clean up their act and change and do good. and not be a cancer anymore. And if you're going to, like, if you have the right things to say and the conviction to speak them, I don't care if you have the ugliest, dirtiest history in the universe. Mine's pretty bad, but here I am, a public voice, putting my face to it. I'm not ashamed of that stuff. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say I made those mistakes. I am ashamed of the things I did, but I got better. I stopped doing those things. And now I use what gusto, what little steam I've got left to hopefully add my voice out to this internet ocean, to hopefully make young people make better choices than I did, and to be immune to lies that were fed to me, that led me astray. And that's why I love the Go Free method. And that's why I talk about dispelling the anti-whiteism all the time, is because it's that exact poison that led me to doing destructive, horrible shit when I was younger. And so I don't think any of us should feel like we are too damaged or too cancerous or too degenerate to make a difference or to participate in functional, healthy society, because we're all products of the ashes. We've all got this poison in us, and we have to beat it, and we have to get better. And my voice is falling apart. 3, why don't you respond?
Yeah. I have some experience with that as well. I used to be in a long-term relationship with a woman who at first seemed quite wholesome. Let's say it was never clean. Okay, she was a beatard. I met her on 4chan. Like we had a good time, and then as the years passed by, she became more and more of a leftist, and I suddenly found myself, when talking to her, feeling very disturbed and uncomfortable because the things because as there were fewer and fewer topics for us to talk about, because the main reason why we broke up is because she found my opinions unacceptable. As the number of topics waned, the topics that remained were nothing but degenerate small talk, like the idea that her friend was posting nudes of herself, or what sort of sexual position she was getting in with her trainee girlfriend.
That sounds dreadful.
Yeah, it made me insanely uncomfortable, and I'd realized, yeah, whatever we had in common previously was long gone, and I had thrown any sort of degeneracy that I had in my life away already. And
Yeah.
it was a very gradual thing, and I believe that it's probably going to be gradual for anyone else in the chat here who are listening today. It's not going to happen all at once. You might realize one day that you've changed considerably, and that you've put this stuff all away for good, based on your own will alone. I mean, you might find it effortless, honestly. But I think
thank you, Cockney Nut Job, for the ice creams over on D Live. I just saw those. Thank you very much.
The point,
Excuse me.
The main point is that I think you'll figure out what makes you uncomfortable and what you're going to have to put down and put away and stop thinking about. And the longer you stop thinking about it, when the topic ever does come up ever again, you're going to realize, wow, I'm glad I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Also, being around people that live the way that you aspire to live, and that say the things and do the things you aspire to be like, that's important. Like, if you hear it a lot on in the dissident right, if all 4 of your flatmates are fat, lazy potheads, you're the 5th. Like, be around people and actively choose to be around folks who aren't part of the things that you might have used to been a part of, whether it's drugs or laziness or being addicted to MMOs or whatever it is. Let's move on. There's more things that people want to ask me. We have, hello, Enrieb, or the Enrieb. I don't know how to say that phonetically. It's the Enrieb. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. He says, Yizz, who or what inspired you to stand up politically and culturally? Well, my family, my father, despite my issues and certain abuses he laid on me, like I talked about in my fatherhood video, he did not fail me as a father in all ways. He was an abusive prick in a lot of ways, but he did not fail as a father in many good ways. And one of the ways he did not fail me was telling me that there were rich, evil men all throughout the church, all throughout government, all throughout every place of business and school, that wanted to teach me to self-destruct and teach everybody to just be a degenerate Marxist and crawl all over each other and have a ball. And he was right about that. And he taught me from a young age that there were going to be people that would lie to me and manipulate me and encourage me to do bad things. And unfortunately, I didn't heed that advice for a few years, like I talked about earlier, but it was pretty good advice. He was an inspiration. David Collins was an excellent martial arts instructor. He was basically my second father. For 13 years, I spent most of my free time at his combat martial arts school. He's the one that taught me how to do all kinds of hunting and survival and military training and all the martial arts that I know, all of the boxing and wrestling and MMA stuff I know. Most of the weapon operation for combat, like everything from K-bar to M16 and all this stuff he taught me. He inspired me to never relent with cultural righteousness. And of course, since it's our way here in Appalachia, it was through the lens of Christianity, but it's inspiring nonetheless. I knew from a young age that I was born into a war that I would not live to see the end of. And it was these two men that instilled in me an eternal fighting spirit, that there's going to be evil that surfaces in my life in ways that I don't even know yet because I'm a child. And it's my duty to fight that for the rest of my life. Because if 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 good people do nothing, evil wins. And those two men taught me that. And they inspired me to, once I became an adult, once I realized the anti-white narrative and all the lies and the history we were lied about and all this other stuff, it became a sort of spiritual quest for me to speak the truth and to dispel all this evil that not only tried to destroy me and my life, but destroys the lives of millions of my people. And so David Collins and my late father are probably the two people that inspired me most. And of course, there are wonderful people right now that I could make a huge list of that constantly inspire me. Jason Kuna's in the chat right now. He inspires me. I've heard, let's see, who else in the chat? I've heard Holly Midlife talk. She inspires me. She's even been on my channel and we've talked before. Several people inspire me. The beautiful music of bass guitarist. He's in the chat right now. He inspires me. These are the people that inspire me to keep going and to doing what I do. The white well-being community, the dissident right in general, not so much the TRS NJP community. I have reasons to not jibe with them, like I've talked about previously, but I think there's still a lot of good people that mean well in those camps. People like Millennial Woes have inspired me. People like Academic Agent and Don the Pleb have inspired me. Men who speak a truth that they know so fiercely in their hearts they can't shut up about it. Those people inspire me. And hopefully that answers that question. Since I'm still talking pretty well, we're going to go ahead and move on without a 3 of 12 interlude here. Next in chat, Jason says, happy I'm recovering. Thank you, brother. I think I thanked you before that last thing there. Jason also says that's some strong wisdom that I'm sharing. Thank you. I feel like I have cultivated a lot of wisdom from a long life of failures. And I would like to encourage other people to not fail where I have failed and to not make the mistakes that I've made. And recognizing that there is a strong anti-white, anti-male animus in our civilization that actively tries to disempower men and whites, specifically white men. You got to realize that. And Holly Midlife, she knows that there is a very active anti-woman, anti-femininity element at play too. And we need to speak on that and hopefully encourage people that are going to be educators and politicians and PTA and preachers and mentors to the next generation. We need to inspire them to speak the truth that we know in a more constructive educational way to bring people up right so our people have a future at all, hopefully a good one. So I'm glad that I have the ability to share wisdom. As sad and as depressed as I get a lot of times, at least I know that I'm speaking truth and wisdom that hopefully will make a difference in others' lives. And that keeps me going most days. So thank you, Jason. Thank you to everybody in my community that supports me and appreciates the wisdom I share. Thank you. I deeply appreciate all of you. I'm going to rest my voice a minute. Take it away, 3.
Yeah, it's certainly a sentiment I've had before. Making a life of wisdom out of a series of failures. Seems like that's it's slowly coming to mean something, but it's taken a long time to get there. But yeah, it is very important to be inspired by people that you look up to, whether it's us or it's someone else, or whether it's Mac or AA or even someone like Uzulu on occasion. It really doesn't matter who you look up to, as long as as long as you learn something from them and you build on their wisdom. Um, make your your immediate area the area that you work on, and just keep working at it, and you'll find success. The problem never was you. The problem is that you were taught to be helpless. The problem is that you were taught to look down on yourself. The problem is
Yeah,
you were taught to be very
that's
hard on yourself when you've done
yeah,
nothing
that's
wrong.
the main thing in the anti-white narrative. I think that's why Jason, I'm sure, chose the moniker "No White Guilt." I think that we are taught from a young age, from cartoons and video games and preachers and everybody, because they got raised on anti-whiteism too. We are taught that we are, I don't know, less than, incapable. We shouldn't try. We should give up. All this other stuff. Like, it's very infantilizing. Very, it's like, oh, excuse me. It's like we are enforced to be forever children from a young age, and I
Yeah.
hate that. And that's really ugly. Let's keep moving though. Here we got. Thank you, Holly. She says, "Preach it, sister. Lifetime of lessons well learned, more valuable when shared." Yeah, absolutely. Lady of Shalott talking about the horrors down under. I hear you, sister. Let's see. Ardent Party. Yes, I understand the word anti-human. I get that,
I like that
but
too.
I know you do, and we've argued about this before. The reason why I don't like anti-human, it's too broad spectrum. We have a very particular disease killing us, and broad spectrum antibiotics ain't kicking it. We need a particular curative contagion. We need to call it anti-white. We need to call it anti-Western. We need to label it all anti-whiteism.
I
It's
like
under the
anti-Western.
banner. It's under the banner of white erasure. It's destroying white people in white countries. And see, that language is firm. It rattles cages because we've been raised on mean pathogens to make people not want to talk about that stuff. And so we make them talk about it. We make it resonate in their minds. We use the go free method. And that's why I think that language is powerful. And I mean, we were conquered with changing our language and introducing new words. That's why I hate the word racism. It was created and installed like 100 years ago, specifically to cause destabilization. It's not a real word, so to speak. It didn't come about organically. So I just anyway. I hear you. It is anti-human. Obviously, all these anti-whites and all
The lizards and whatnot.
these evil oligarchs. Yes, they're anti-human. Yes, but that's not actionable, useful language in a mimetic method, in my opinion. So that's why I don't truck with that. Excuse me. All right, let's see here. We're almost at the bottom of the chat. Thank goodness. Jason's kind. He says that I am a sort of reborn warrior poet. Well, I would like to think of myself as a skald. I am not a great warrior, but I'm decent enough to protect myself. And one of the things that eunuchs of tradition of old did is they would guard greater men, and they would guard the things that are important to greater men, especially their women and their children. So I like to think of myself, it's one of the reasons I chose the word eunuch for my moniker, is I am a non-man, a failed male, or an alternate male, like the ones in history, like the ones in the Bible talks about. And I believe it's my place to share wisdom and to safeguard the things that great men value. And our people, obviously, are something that all great men value. So I take it upon myself to use my scald powers to hopefully make a difference and help our people be healthy and flourish. So thank you, Jason. Ardent Party says he thinks anti-Western is better. He just finds the word anti-human. I understand. I get it. I know. Like, and again, it's the same discussions I've had with Wes and Little 3 of 12 here about that. And when I say little, I don't mean that as an insult. He's actually tiny of stature, and I think that's cool. So that's why I say Little 3 of 12. No offense. Okay.
I mean, no offense taken at all. I mean, I am literally 5 feet tall. 5 feet,
Yeah.
0 inches. And I refuse
Well,
to let that get in the way of me being a successful male. I used to think that it would be something that would keep me from ever being either competitive or productive, but I realized that that's not something that people care about very much.
yeah.
I
Thank
just
you, Lady of Shalott. Sorry to interrupt you. Lady of Shalott is she's a homeschooler, and she's down under, and it's time for her to go start her
oh
homeschooling.
Sheila.
You go be a good mother and a great pillar of your community, Lady of Shalott. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. We've actually come to the end of all of the questions, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up, and we are going to, of course, shill the School of the West for Brant Danger, because Brant Danger here in about 10 minutes is going to be the special guest on Jason and Jared's Tap, and I will be going over there. Hopefully, you guys will all be following me. I'll be going over there for Tap immediately after this stream. And we're going to go ahead and share that since we're talking about it. The link in all the chat right now is the link to the Tap episode that's coming on here in 5 to 10 minutes, which is going to be spotlighting Brant Danger and the School of the West. And for those of you who don't know, Brant Danger is a pillar of the white well-being community, and he has devoted his life to education and the service of our people. And he has created a wonderful supplementary curriculum, which hopefully one day will be an entire curriculum for educating children on everything they need to know in a positive, loving your people message that is hopefully completely devoid of mean pathogens entirely. And that would be a wonderful curriculum for us to all have and share and teach our kids with one day. So he is a real champion for doing that. So I love and respect Brant Danger. He's been on my channel before a couple years ago, I think. I think it's been about 2 years now. He and Donald Kent were on my on an episode of Corner Club together. So we're going to go ahead and do one more scan of chat to make sure I'm not missing any important questions. And then we're going to bid everyone adieu. Excuse me. My voice is a little weak, but hopefully by next week it'll be strong and I can do a full, loud, boisterous episode of Discordant Dragons for everyone. That hopefully will happen. So let's see here. Nothing over on D Live. No new questions over on Odyssey. And over on the question widget on Entropy, we have a thing. What issues have you seen from NJP? From what little I have seen, they are mostly good, but lose people because of derogatory language and a bit of the anti-nationalist LARPing type language. It is precisely that. I do not trust or truck with men who repeat failed tactics and who use negativism as their primary platform. If you want to go have your own channel and all you do is talk about how the immigrants are bad and the Jews are behind it all, mazel tov. You go do that till your heart's content. I just don't want any part of it. I don't think it's actionable. I don't think it works. We have had people in the pro-white, whatever you want to call it, we have had people for the last 80 years loudly, boisterously doing the whole song and dance, blame the immigrant, blame the Jew, talk about Zion, all the Zionist stuff. We've had people talking about Zog and beating the drums on that since before my parents were born, and it didn't change shit. So I don't truck with that. It's not only is it a failed tactic, if I'm going to use my voice and my platform to poo-poo the Jews or to poo-poo blacks or talk about them as a group and say they're evil, well, that's no different than what the anti-whites say about us. That would make me a hypocrite. And as we discussed earlier in the channel, being a hypocrite is is like opposite of being based. Don't be a hypocrite. So that's the bone I have to pick with a lot of the NJP negativity crowd. I think those are failed tactics, and it sort of makes them a hypocrite. So, that's why I don't truck with it. Hopefully that answers that question pretty good. So, excuse me. All right. That, I believe, is all the questions. I'm going to check the bottom of YouTube chat here real quick. Thank you, Holly. I do appreciate that. Thank you, bass guitarist. I appreciate that. Prometheum promulgation. Let me read that, see if that's a question or not. That's a long comment. I'll read it. It's not really a question. Prometheum promulgation says, ultimately, the most deranged anti-whites end up being generally just hate-filled people. It doesn't address the overall situation. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think pointing out the radicalized or the manipulators behind the anti-white narrative and trying to get people to hate them, that's not going to do anything. That's not actionable. It doesn't heal us, and it's not about building positive, good things about us. It makes the narrative about other people. So fuck that.
We should be trying to de-radicalize people, not radicalize people.
Yeah. All right. Hello, Kingdom of Vinland. He says, Are white lives matter also ant-nats? I don't know. That's not really a question for me. White Lives Matter is just a slogan. I don't really think that's an actual movement like NJP or WWB. White Lives Matter, of course, obviously. Saying White Lives Matter to counter Black Lives Matter, I think, is just engaging in rank low IQ street brawling, and I don't think that's useful. I don't think that's a wise expenditure of your time and effort.
I think it's
it
mostly,
is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's mostly useful as a reminder to have pride in yourself. You need to treat yourself with respect, or you can't treat anyone or anything else with respect.
Oh, we got Reptile here. Reptile, I hope that you're healing. I hope you and your family are well. I'm not going to speak about things that maybe should be private, but I know that Reptile and his family need our prayers. So I hope that everything's going okay with you, Reptile. It was great to see you at my picnic, and I look forward to being at more in-person meetups with you. And so,
how's Cardassia this time of year?
Let's see. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything. And there are no more paid chats to get to. I'm going to refresh PayPal, Cash App, and Subscribestar one more time. Make sure we're not missing anything because I don't want to leave anybody out. And no, it looks like we're not missing out on anything. I would like to go ahead and take this time to thank Iron Roots. About a week ago, when he found out that I had taken pretty ill, he sent me $50 and said, "Here's to help with groceries and medicine you'll need while you're sick." And that was mighty white of him to do that, and I very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. And so let's go ahead and thank him publicly for that. Thank you guys for all being here today. I encourage you to follow that link. I'm going to put it in the chat again. Everybody come over and hang out with Jason and Jared. And you need to learn about why Brant Danger is a hero and why the School of the West is something that you should use to help educate your kids. So we're going to go ahead and move on over. Kingdom of Vinland says White Lives Matter are a group like WWB. I did not know that. I apologize. I did not know that it was a formalized group. Kingdom of Vinland, my apologies. I know that you do good work, and I'm sure that that there's plenty of good folks in the WLM movement. I'm sure of it. So God bless all of you. Godspeed to all of you, and may all of our gods bless all of us who are doing constructive, productive things for our people. And we're going to go ahead and leave it there. Hopefully next week my voice will be strong enough to do Discordant Dragons. I'm going to take most of this week off from work and try to just recuperate and catch up on a bunch of chores and things I have to do. I love all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, 3, for being here to be my sidekick and help me like usual. I deeply appreciate it. And you guys have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday night at the same time for Discordant Dragons. And I'm going to go over and see you guys in a few minutes over on Jason's channel. So I'll see you guys then. Take care.